Good evening and welcome. Thank you for attending my presentation. I'm going to say a special thank you to Dr. Jill Richards, Director of CAPS. Today will be discussing reducing stress and depression in Rutgers students, mainly focusing on the New Brunswick campus. Going over the outline quickly, problems starting with that is the number of students experiencing stress and depression is increasing rapidly. Secondly, many students are unaware of the university's counseling services. In addition to counseling service department, also known as CAPS, we also need to figure out a way in which more students know about the resources that they have. Again, the population is mostly focused on the New Brunswick campus students, followed by the literature review, the theory saying that different types of therapy exist, but all do help. Specifically going over the new trend of self-examination through web-based courses. The first model of success is University of Georgia, followed by the second model of success, Stanford University. Later I will talk about the campus program made by the JED Foundation and their framework to success, followed by the cost, and then the wrap-up and questions and answers. Problem of depression and stress is that it is on the rise. As it is quoted and defined, depression is one of the most common psychiatric disorders to occur in most lifetime, caused by biological, psychological, social, and or environmental factors. With depression are considered these symptoms: irritable mood of the rest of the day, or most of the day, significant unintentional weight loss and weight gain, insomnia or hypersomnia, physical agitation or slowness, loss of energy or fatigue, feelings of worthlessness or excessive guilt, and reoccurrence of death. A lot of times with people experiencing stress and depression, they can conceal these feelings and symptoms, but it's up to us to make sure that we are aware of what's going on and to notice the very little bit of the symptoms. Followed by the definition of stress. Stress is a physical, mental, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension. Stress can be external or internal. It can also initiate the fight or flight response. Stress externally comes from the environmental, psychological, or social situations, whereas internally it'll come from illness or a form of medical procedure. Depressed brain versus normal brain. As you can see on the right with the bright colors shows the level of brain activity. With the colors being bright, as you can see, a lot of brain activity is going on. Whereas comparison to the left side, the depressed brain shows that there's dull colors, therefore there's a decrease in level of brain activity. With depression being a mental disorder in comparison to a stressed or depressed college student, this can hinder them from completing their path of either getting through the semester, even further into graduating college. Here shows the picture of brain networks. To the left of you can see is the normal, the way they look, and to the right is the stress. As you can see, stress shrinks them. Therefore, by stress and depression combined or having either or of these mental health issues, both of them can shrink the brain, causing an abnormal shape to form in the brain. Going over the broader issue, in 2015, the Anxiety and Depression Association of America reported that 40 million adults suffer from different forms of mental illness, including depression. Out of those 40 million, 15% of them are diagnosed college students. And a recent study shows that ages between 18 and 22, 35% of them are experiencing depression and anxiety. As you can see, the photo to the left was statistics collected from the American College Health Association. This was from the National College Health Assessment in fall 2011. As you can see, 86% of college students are overwhelmed, 81% feel exhausted, 30% feel too depressed to function, and 6.6% have actually seriously considered committing suicide. Including more statistics, an article that I read, Depression in College Students, they say that 1 out of 4 students, college students, suffer from a form of mental illness. This includes depression, therefore including students at Rutgers University. 19% of young people commit suicide every year, and suicide is the third leading cause of death among college students. 75% of college students do not seek mental health. With the problem being at Rutgers, I conducted a survey of 20 students asking them the same questions. Have you ever felt or dealt with or experiencing stress or depression? Do you know about CAPS, the Counseling, ADAP, and Psychiatric Services? And what year are you? Out of the 20 students, 12 of them did not know what CAPS was and were suffering from depression and stress. Out of the 12 students, 1 was a graduate, 3 were juniors, and 8 were a mixture of freshmen and sophomore. That's showing that 60% of students do not know what CAPS is, the program, the resource that they have at their fingertips if they need to talk to someone. Going over the therapy, that different types of therapy do exist, but all do help. A study was done in a university overseas in Germany, but was also accessible to students within the United States. Basically, it was a web-based self-help intervention for symptoms of depression and anxiety and stress. This was a 4-week web-based course. Week 1 was the participants are students, or to describe what really matters to them. Week 2, the most important week, they are to write down their current worries and problems and categorize them into 3 different parts. The first part would be unimportant problems. Second part would be problems that can be solved. And the third one, problems that cannot be solved. Within the second category or part, problems that can be solved, they are to follow the following procedures. The first is to write a clear definition of the problem. Second is to generate multiple solutions for that problem. The third is to select the best solution. Then you have to work out a systematic plan for that solution, followed by carrying out the solution, and lastly, evaluate as to whether the solution has resolved the problem. Week 3 is they to make a future plan and describe how they will achieve those things that matter to them most. Week 4 is them taking a post questionnaire about the course that they take. The Model of Success, University of West Georgia. They are a member of the JED Foundation Campus Program, which I will later discuss. In 2013, they received a campus seal in recognition for being successful in the mental health program that they have at the school. They also showed 13% reduction, or in other words, 13% in students recovering from depression within the 2012 and 2013 academic year, whereas the previous academic year it was only 8% reduction. The University of West Georgia also offers premium level service to their students, which they were able to do by receiving a grant. Furthermore, the services are built into the tuition so they can avoid getting any extra or additional fees. This also gives unlimited counseling services to the University of West Georgia students. The second model of success is Stanford University, whereas their study was titled Be One with Nature. This study was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. This was Nature versus Urbanization. Basically, one group was to walk within nature, or basically take a nature walk, and the second group was to walk along the streets of a city or a busy streetway. Each study shows that 90 minutes of the time taken to walk in nature actually has a positive effect on the brain. As quoted from the study, nature shows to have a positive effect on mood and aspects of cognitive function, including working memory and decreases in anxiety. At the school, counseling sessions can either be a one-on-one or a group session. Majority of them will be outdoors. They will take 15 minutes to walk around nature just to observe their surroundings, whereas the remaining 45 minutes they will take to discuss with the counselor or have their group session. The JED Foundation is a nonprofit organization, but it was founded in 2000 by founders Donna and Phil Satow. They lost their son to suicide. Their mission is to protect emotional health and prevent suicide among college and university students. Basically, as you see the photo here is their framework. Going over a few steps, you have the developed life skills, which teaches them healthy ways to cope with stress of college life. You also have academic performance, which combining healthy living and academics to contribute to a healthy campus community and a successful student body. Another important one, well, as they're all important, but identifying students at risk. This is being more attentive to the signs of symptoms, especially for those who feel they need to hide them. Also increasing help training students to have a peer-to-peer outreach. Means restriction and environmental safety is basically limiting students to have access to weapons, poison, chemicals, rooftops, as well as high places so they don't cause harm to themselves or accidentally cause harm to themselves. Also, the JED Foundation Campus Program costs $6,000 for a 4-year commitment and additional to your CPC cost of travel. The purpose of this program is not to replace the structure already to the CAPS department, but to enhance their already established policies and to implement new ones. Here's the breakdown of the cost. Basically, if the school was to include these fees in student tuition bill, it would only cost 2 cents. Or if the school decides they can pay for the $6,000, including the travel cost of the CPC. Active Mind Inc. Incorporated is a nonprofit organization that's funded by private contributions. Basically, this was founded by Allison Malmon, who made this organization after the suicide of her brother. Her brother had actually concealed signs of depression and stress for about 3 years until he was diagnosed with a disorder. A year after he was diagnosed, he ended his life, and this was actually as Allison was finishing up her first year at UPenn. The second chapter was started by Kate Hurd, who was a transfer student from UPenn to Georgetown University. So she brought the framework and the model of the program to Georgetown University. Right now, the national headquarters is in Washington, D.C., and they were incorporated as a 501c3 organization in late 2003. Right now, they're well recognized in the industry of mental health, and they've been going 13 years strong and in counting. Basically, when you hear Active Minds chapter, this will mostly be a student-led chapter. And basically, these are the steps that they will need to take in order to become active chapter members. They'll have to learn they can download the developing chapter toolkit from the website. They'll have to register using the registration form, document. For the documentation, their university or college will have to recognize them as a student organization first and send that document into Active Minds chapters. They also have to constitute and create a chapter constitution, followed by fundraising. Basically, in this wrap up, for a campus program, again, it will enhance the existing structures of CAPS and implement new ones. This will provide longevity of well-established systems. Also, to teach students skills that they can use on campus and off campus. The cost is affordable. The school can also receive awards and recognition for being successful within the program. This is also a national list that you can see other schools will also have been successful. The Active Minds chapter is basically a peer-to-peer outreach group or program, which I feel is most best because not a lot of times do students want to talk to counselors. They rather talk to someone who is around their same age and basically going through what they're going through. This allows them to see that they're not alone when they're experiencing stress and depression. So I believe the time is now to act. We have to let it be known that Rutgers is more than club sports and academics. We care about the students' health, and we want to make sure they get the best help that they need. So I want to thank you for your time here and attending my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, feel free to email me at TW140@scarlettmail.rutgers.edu. Thank you.